Voices. I'm Dr. Luz Maria,
I'm Lisa Frank.
and today's topic is a relaxing topic. It's self-care.
Whew. In today's society where there's so much hustle and bustle and a lot of our time spent on social media, we all could use a reminder of how important it is to take care of ourselves.
And you know, for women, there's three areas that we definitely need a lot of care, especially as we get a little older and we have so many more responsibilities. One of them is mental health. The other one is emotional health, and the other one is physical health. And we kind of tend to ignore many times all of the above.
Yes, it's easy for us to get caught up in our day-to-day responsibilities, whether that be with children or if you don't have children, it could be just focusing on your job or your spouse more than yourself, or just busy with home and just so many other responsibilities that it's easy to overlook your need to care for yourself.
Yeah, so let's start with the mental health. And I want to share something. There's so much research out there that shares and tells us that women, because we are so taking care of others, what we end up doing is really falling under depression.
Yes.
Even if we're on the go-go, we think we're not depressed. We're on the go, 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 go. And then we've realized, the research points that out, that women suffer more from depression than men.
Yes. And speaking of men, we wanted to add, guys, you are welcome to engage in this conversation because it is also important for you to take care of yourself. And we might just give you an idea that if you wanted to treat your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter or sibling to something special, that maybe you'll give them a gift card to a day spa or something of that nature just to help them along.
Yeah. So let's just start with mental health, depression, and the importance of self-care. I'm going to share a little bit about me, like in that having a child with, I know later on we're going to talk about what it is to be with children with disabilities. When you have a child that has disabilities of some nature, then you have the kids where you got to get up in the morning, getting them to school, take care of that. You take care of the household. Then, if you're working or studying or whatever may be that we are so on the go to life or going through a list of things, when we least expect it, we forget that we even exist. And when I realized that is when I noticed that I stopped putting on makeup. I stopped doing my hair. I stopped taking care of myself because somehow there was not enough time. I could not even see that, Lisa.
Yeah, those things that you normally enjoy doing. That's one of the signs of depression,
Yeah.
not feeling like doing one of the things that you normally enjoy doing. That's a telltale sign.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is, Lisa. And like we know, like to be clinically depressed, we think we have to be bedridden, which is true. But we still have these lingering depression states where we tend to forget ourselves in the process because we're always taking care of others. And another thing that is really common for women with depression that goes on with the lack of self-care and mental health is overeating.
Yes.
Overeating.
Well, food just feels good sometimes to eat what you want to eat.
Yes. So that becomes our drug of selection because we do not feel good about ourselves. Definitely.
And it just perpetuate the sadness because now not only are you dealing with depression, now you're looking in the mirror at your body and being increased in size. And and speaking of that, you and I had the conversation yesterday about how everybody's talking about their COVID weight.
Yes.
We went through COVID. It was a very traumatic time for most. I mean, even if it didn't touch our lives personally, it touched our lives as what we watched people that we knew suffer losses of loved ones, and not being able to go to their funerals,
Yes.
and give them the eulogizing them in a way that we normally
Yes.
are accustomed to. And that brought on a lot of depression as well, being isolated from each other, not being able to go over to each other's house. It was like, oh my God, we are really locked up here. like,
And you know what? Some of us actually stayed in that mode.
yes,
Oh,
yes. Things have changed. And, we do have to realize that the entire world was shut down
yes.
as a result of this pandemic. And many have not gone in reverse. Many are still depressed. Many are still traumatized by it. And, I've often heard people say, "Oh, well, I can't wait to get back to normal." And my
Mm,
thinking was always, get back to normal. Like, are you really ready for that?
yeah.
Because for me, getting back to normal and interacting with people again means, are you really ready to deal with the fallout of what happened during
Yes.
the pandemic? Are you really ready? Like we talked about sisterhood. Are you really to
Yeah.
be that person that is allowing someone to fall into your arms and embrace them because they're traumatized by what has happened during this time?
And because during that time, it made it more easy to not do self care.
Right.
And then there's a lot of the moms. I know some of you have your children where you had to be moms, you had to work from home, you had to be a teacher. And then so it just, dealing with everything that had to do with being at home and the cooking and everything. So you had, that was like like a magnetizing experience of what it was to not create self care.
And I know this is a serious subject, but you just triggered me. When you said we could go out, I thought about the fact, or take care of ourselves, I thought about the fact that, wait a minute, I can't even go get my nails done. We won't, listen, okay, audience, tell the truth. we were we were we were Googling, YouTubing, finding out ways to do our own nails, our own hair, and everything else. It was wild. And talk about a time where, and then when things did start to open back up, how about, you're going to the salon and they got all these rules and you better wash your hands and you got to put on a mask, and then, is that the right mask? And oh my goodness. And that made self-care hard in this season.
It
So it's
did.
hard already, but now it's even more difficult, right?
It really is really more difficult because we not only got used to not caring for ourselves, but on top of it,
We had an excuse.
we had an excuse. But you know what? The cost of
Yes.
self care has
It
increased.
went up.
Tell me about doing nails. Tell me
Yes.
about, because see, we think women, when we cut our hair and do our nails, that is self care. And to be
Yes.
honest with you, it's just a little thing. It's not really
Right.
self care.
Right.
And when that even goes up at a higher cost, like I found myself having to learn to do a lot of stuff for my own because of the cost. So I actually do in between
Yeah.
self care
Right.
because of the cost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you talk about mental health, and I worked on a project at the hospital. It's called collaborative care, and collaborative care was created because during this time everyone developed, or even not so much developed, had to stop and recognize the fact that they had some issues that they weren't dealing with. Because when we're going, just like those cars over there, they're speeding down that highway. When we're going, it's easy for us to push to the back burner. Oh, I need to go see a therapist. I need to go talk about this. This keeps coming up every now and then. So it's easy for us to do that, right?
Yes.
So now there's an increase in the need for therapists. And as a result, they created this collaborative care program so that primary care physicians, if you came in and said, "Oh, I stumped my toe and it's swollen. I can't get the swelling down," and then all of a sudden you tell the doctor, "Well, That happened because I was moving my mother out of our family home. She has to go into nursing care. I was in focus. I was really depressed. And because I was so depressed and distracted and anxious that she's given up our home, I stomped my toe. And
Yeah.
so then the doctor, then he begins to fill out some forms and see which boxes you're checking off. And because he can see you're okay, you're experiencing some depression and anxiety, I'm going to refer you to a
Yes.
a psychiatrist or a therapist for
Yeah.
care. And now that middleman is cut, whereas before you may have had to wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get into treatment, but the PCP is making it easy by doing that referral. So it was a great system. I actually, where I was working, I actually was responsible to get all of the primary care physicians trained to do these referrals.
That's wonderful. And self care, when it comes to the mental health, has shifted quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We do most of the work now on
Yes.
actually on Zoom. And though, although because there's such a need out there, what it is occurring that the sessions are shorter. There's a longer period of time. So, I mean, the value on self care for all of us out there, ladies, is really important. So, one of the things is, of course, mental health, our depression, and the way we're dealing it, most of us, is through food. And then there's another component for our our self care, which is the physical one.
Yes.
Which we do we even want to talk about it?
Gyms were closed down.
Yes.
Like, if you even had the momentum already, it's too late because, now the gym is closed. You can't do the gym anymore. And people are doing videos on YouTube to get you to exercise. And, that's all well and good. But some people need that social to do group exercises and stuff like that. So,
Which is part of
yeah,
self-care. That
that's right.
social is an opportunity to where we get to take care of each other and socialize. And it makes it worse. I'm going to go see my friend. So it's not just the exercise, it's the socialization that helps us heal in mental health. Well, I've always been very much of an exercise person all my life, kind of on and off at the end. But yes, with COVID. Now, for those of you out there that really are into exercise, you probably say you just lazy because all of you can get out and work outside or exercise. You're right. You're right. But again, it just takes something else
Yeah.
for all of us and the value. So the exercise component is such an important thing for women because we women go through so many body changes. Our hormones changes ever since we become an adolescent, when we get our period, how it affects us. When we have children, the impact it has on our body. And then when we actually start our hormonal changes, that it also has a big impact. So I don't know if you
Exactly.
started already your changes. So,
Well,
I know I did.
okay. Well, my changes actually started at 36 because
Wow.
I experienced endometriosis for
Yes,
12 years.
endometriosis does affect you.
And actually, I had to have a total hysterectomy right after I had my son. A year after I had my son, I was in pain 5 days before, 5 days during,
Ooh.
and 5 days after my cycle. I just wasn't living.
No.
And when the doctor went in to do the hysterectomy, he had told us, he said, well, it depends on what I find, how much I take, and what have you. But he said when he got in there, he said it was a mess, that the lesions were so, there was so many that my ovaries were attached to my uterus, and the thickness at the base of it. He said, I don't even understand how your kids got here. Of course, that makes the man feel like he's Superman. Yeah, I'm
It
got
flew.
whatever. I was like, whatever. So, I nursed my son for a year, and of course that prevents your cycle, right?
Yes.
And but once I stopped and my cycle came back on, I was in pain. I couldn't even get off the couch for 3 days. So I said, you know what, something different has to be done. And the doctor said, well, it's a big decision, but I have to say that most of my patients begin living. And
Yeah.
I did. I began living, but at the same time, like you said, with the change, there's hormonal involved and everything. So you have to watch what you eat. If not, you're going to have these internal summers going on all day. Panning yourself and people, oh, turn down the heat, and then I'm cold, turn up the heat, and then go to bed, and oh my God, I'm sweating, I had to take everything off, oh my God, I'm cold, and let's put everything back on. It is a wild
Right.
ride.
It is a wild ride, ladies, and I hope all of you can appreciate we're in unison. And I think the men can hear us out there to know this is a real thing that women do experience.
Well, of course they know, they sleep next to us. Like what?
Like
If you don't turn my air off and my heat off and relax yourself, like what is happening here?
Yeah.
So some of them know.
So you can see physical, our body changes. And, Lisa, yours went through an extreme at really
Yeah,
young
but-
age. And actually mine was the other.
Yeah.
Mine actually, my period ended at 56.
Right.
Way older.
Okay.
It's so much older that the
Yeah,
doctor
that's 20 years after
yes,
me,
the
right?
doctor
Mhm.
actually said, I think you may have cancer. We got to do a biopsy. Women generally do not have their periods this long. So then I went into this whole experience of like, oh,
Worrying.
where am I? What's going on? So at the end of the day, yes, everything came back normal. So the doctor asked me, and this is, let me tell you, ladies, the doctor asked me, why do you think, Luz Maria, you have had such an amazing, like health care with your body and your hormones? And I said, sex, orgasms.
Oh gosh.
Part of self-care, ladies, is really understanding your body. Our body
Right.
produces its own chemistry, just like it does the hormones. It can actually create a lot of balance. So that's one way to do some self-care.
I think that, in the space that I'm in now, I actually was facilitating a group about self-care. Sorry.
Yeah.
See, you got me saying sex. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
No, she's not. This is a fun
Okay,
conversation.
well, I meant self-care. We'll talk about that later.
Well, we'll have an episode. We'll share more about that.
So, and the group focused on because, when we think of self-care, okay, we did go there. We talked about spa treatment. We talked about nails and hair and makeup
Yes.
and all of that. All of those things that we go get, facials and massages, all those things make us feel good and fuzzy inside, right?
Yes.
But another component of self-care is taking care of yourself internally.
Emotionally.
Okay, because the way if we don't love ourselves and take care of the things that are going on inside of us, then most likely we're not going to treat others well.
That is so important, the emotional. We do need to. And we are so all the time caring for others that we really forget to take care of ourselves, of our own emotions. And we start packing them. And then when we least expect it, we start yelling. We start yelling at the kids. We're in
Right.
bad attitude.
And they're looking, what's happening? Like, what?
Yeah.
When I first, as a teenager, got my menstrual, every month, I could never find anything. And I just started slamming stuff, cabinets. And my mother would say, what? Go take an aspirin. And I'm saying to myself, why am I taking aspirin again? I'm thinking this to myself, and then I walk away and say, okay, I just want to find what I'm looking for. But I understood as I got older that for women, we go through a thing called PMS.
Yes.
And we may be able to squash things that are bothering us any other time of the month. But trust, when that time comes, it's coming to the surface.
Yes. It really is. It really does impact. And it impacts more some women than others. And
Right.
that's the truth.
Right.
So that's part of our physical self-care and the emotional, and then our mental health care, all of that. So I think what I'd like for us to share, if it's okay, let's talk about some of those routines. Routines of self-care. What would define a good routine of self-care, ladies? Ladies, what do you do? Like, really think about it. What do you do for self-care? Is it just your nails and your hair? Did that take care of your physical, emotional, and mental health? Like, what do you do? Just think about it.
Yeah. Drop it in the comments. Let us know. But what about yourself, Luz?
Well,
What's your
I
routine
I
like?
meditate. I meditate
Mm-hmm.
almost every morning, and that's like a real ritual. I need some quiet time, some silence, and I hear that. Also, throughout the day, if I find myself that I need more like centering, I listen to certain music
Mm-hmm.
that has high levels of hertz that creates more centering.
Wow, that's
That's
great.
really, really important for me. I exercise. It's also really important. And I eat very healthy. I do all my cooking. I know it's kind of crazy, but I do. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or sometimes I may skip one and I do a nice protein. So meditate and also my friends. My friends are part of my self care, my
Mm-hmm.
emotional care. Every time I find something like gotta get that phone, call my girlfriend, like, hey,
Right.
look, this is what's going on. And I'm not gonna lie, as I'm going through a different stage of my life, intimacy is really important in touch.
Yeah, it's good to get a hug as often as you can, and sometimes, if you're in a space where you don't have a partner, a person of interest in your life, that's why it's important to embrace each
Yeah.
other, even as friends, right?
Yes.
And and just sometimes, we talk about hugs and touches, but sometimes, it could be just a conversation and
Oh my
somebody,
God. Yeah.
like touches you, like, oh yeah,
Girl.
I know. And it does so much. It
It
does so,
does.
so much for you on a regular basis. And for me, Luce, I also, believe in meditation and that quiet time of reading. And for me, just studying and prayer, and that's what does it for me to start off my day. But let's face it, your juice starts to run out. That
It
starts to
does.
run out in the middle of the day. So often you kind of, okay, so I have a pet peeve. I'm about to get on a soapbox. Okay?
Okay.
When I worked in New York on Wall Street for 12 years, we always had an hour for lunch. Okay? And when I got in the treatment space, I and my daughter she just like, Mom, stop, please. Okay, here we go. Sorry. But people now have a half hour for lunch.
Yes.
And I feel like that's one system that works against you
It
because
does.
you don't have time to, first of all, they talk to you about part of taking care of yourself and your weight. You need to eat at a certain pace,
Yes.
slowly, right? Well, how do you do that with a 30-minute lunch? Because by the
Yes.
time you get downstairs to the microwave to heat up your food at work or wait for other people to do that, before you know it, you're shoving your food down your throat. And me, I'm a person who likes to go out and walk at least 15 minutes, if not a half
Yeah.
hour after that. So a lot of times I found myself heating up my food. I had to find a way around it
Yes.
because it was just you. I felt like I would work better when
Yeah.
I had that time to in that space. So I would eat at my desk and
Mm.
then take my full 30 minutes and walk because dealing with your, like you said, when those hormones change due to the change of life, you have, it takes extra effort,
Yes.
right,
It
to deal
does.
with your weight.
Yeah, and it's the nervous system. I mean, in 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes to eat to get down to the place, our nervous system doesn't have a time to really
Right.
relax and digest because digest takes about an hour of food,
Mm-hmm.
and you're shoving it down. Our nervous system never has an opportunity to really incorporate and be very present with ourselves, more so even with our work that we do.
Right.
Yeah, it is
So
so
that's
true.
yeah, it's tough, and that's often a soapbox that I do get on every now and then. And my daughter's like, "Oh my God, here she goes again." And there's times when I've like my last job, that was my first time in many years
Yes.
since I've had an hour for lunch, and I was telling my daughter about the job, and I said, "Yeah," I said, "and guess what? I got an hour for lunch." She was like, "Oh
Oh,
my God, you're in heaven, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah,
yes.
I
Yeah.
am." Okay, because I feel like I now have the time to take care of myself. I
Yes.
mean, for me, you talked about depression, and I was diagnosed with that manic depression
Mm.
many years ago, about 20 years ago. And so, although I'm functioning, working, and doing everything that I need to do, I remember a friend once telling me, well, you can't be depressed right now. You have to make an appointment with your depression, right? so sometimes taking care of myself at lunchtime is just being able to not have to deal with anything, anybody, and just take that 15 minutes just to kind of feel the sadness about something that may be going on in my life. Because when they tell us all the time, when you come to the job, leave your problems at the door.
Yes.
So in order to leave your problems at the door, you have to do that, right?
Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. And, as we're getting closer to the end of our session,
right.
And I think the value in this is just amazing. And I don't know, would it be okay if I share with them one of the things I teach my clients for relaxing their nervous system?
Sure.
Yeah, I do a lot of work with my clients, and I do believe in order for self-care and breath work is such an important thing. So if you're out there, if you could try it, this exercise actually relaxes the nervous system, and then we'll just take really quickly what it is. You take your hands, you interlace them, you put them behind your head, and you actually press your elbows back, and you push your chest forward. And when you do this, only your eyes, roll your eyes to the right as if you're going to do the exorcism. Just have your eyes roll, 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 to the right, to the right, to the right. And then very slowly, of course, you take this little time, you center them, and then you have your eyes roll to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. You hold them, and then very slowly you center them. Okay, bring your back, hands down, and then you breathe in, and you breathe out. Now, if you can do this just for a little longer, because I know we're running out of time, I just wanted to leave you because that's a really, really great exercise that gets the vagus nervous system, that connects to your parasympathetic nervous that says, relax.
Right.
So as we're getting to the end, like, Lisa, so what did we learn today? What did we get to share?
We learned a few things. So, basically the main thing that we want people to take away is that, self-care is not just one area. It's not just going to get a massage and your nails done. It's taking care of other areas of your body, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, and your spiritual health.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, we want people to take away, to go away with that and know that, you have to find that space. You have to find that space where you can just relax and just do you, okay? Even if it's if you can't do it every day, at least 3 or 4 times a week, just take the time out to get centered, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and remember, ladies, that taking care of your health is the best thing that you can do to take care of others, because you can't make a difference in the world out there if we can't take care of ourselves. So the more we take care of ourselves, I know Lisa and I are monitoring our food intake so that we're not busy digesting our food while we're here present with you. We get to connect with you, and more than anything, just really share the love between each other and in this space. So really, honor yourselves, care for yourselves. It's the best thing you can do for you and for those that you love. And
this has been another episode of Different Voices.
Yes, ladies.
And don't forget, hit that like, that subscribe, and then go over to all notifications so that you don't miss an episode, because it's going to get better and better and better.
All right.